Okay,
Well, this
Wendy.
one, yeah,
The
what a cluster
recording
this was.
and what? Listen, the recording is in process, Wendy. We're finally on. We have had some technical issues, to say the least, but we're rocking and rolling. Today is Wednesday, September 4th. It's Labor Day. It's after the Labor Day weekend, Wendy. We were going to try to do this Sunday or Monday. I forgot it was Labor Day weekend, and we were busy. We're busy yesterday. We're actually busy today, but we're going to get this done today and see if we can get through it. Wendy, it was week one of college football.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell me what's up. What's up? Tell me what's
Well,
on your
first
mind,
off,
Wendy.
listen, it has started. The best time of the year is here. We've got college football. We had games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And we had some really good matchups this week, a bunch of cupcake games. That's just part of it. But listen, Trey, we got to see a lot from a lot of good SEC teams, I think, this weekend. So I'm just really pumped. Hey, you went to the Alabama game. How was that? New coach? Night game?
Let's talk about the Alabama game, Wendy. The Alabama football Crimson Tide played
Yes.
Saturday night. We did go to the game. It was Kalen DeBoer's opening debut. The stadium was rocking. It was raining as we were getting into the stadium. I'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. But Alabama looked good. I mean, what I have written down, Wendy, is the big players that are our big players made plays. I mean,
Right.
You had the Ryan Williams, you had your quarterback, Milroe, you had your running backs breaking off. It seemed like everybody that was anybody scored a touchdown.
Yep.
And then our big defensive player, his name's going to escape me now. What's our defensive player's name that had those 2 interceptions? We were all worried about the swarm
Sab
defense.
or Sob? Sab?
Yeah.
I can't pronounce
Sab. Keon
Yep.
Sab. He is a redshirt sophomore. He is 6'1", 206 pounds. Wendy, this is what the game day deal looked like. Yeah. So all in all, it was a good day. Wendy, I will say something about this. So we go to the game. We take the 2 boys to the game. It's the picturesque, like taking the family to the game. We had great seats. The game was fun. It was, everything, and it stopped raining. But when we get so I'm trying to get to what kids take away from a game. So we're leaving the game. We've all had a good time. We're getting in the cars. Right. We're headed back. Well, when we went into the game, we carried our umbrellas because it was raining.
Right.
I knew probably you weren't going to be able to take umbrellas into a stadium. I know you've really never been able to take an umbrella into the stadium, and I knew that was the case. But I was like, look, we're in Alabama. We're in Tuscaloosa. We're going to get up to the gate. We're going to set our umbrellas down in a little spot. There's going to be a bunch of other umbrellas out there. And after we leave, everybody's going to come pick up their umbrellas. This is not a big deal, similar to church, similar to other different functions that you go to, that your umbrellas are going to be fine. We don't have a large theft of umbrella problem in the state of Alabama, at least I didn't think. As we're leaving the stadium, we are looking for our umbrellas, and every umbrella that had been taken, that had been laid down and sat down in the corners and just were gone. Bryant-Denny Stadium security, whoever it was, has taken every one of these umbrellas. Yep. Well, do you want to know, after everything we let the boys do that day, what the boys' main fix was on the whole car ride home? They wanted to know who stole our umbrellas.
Yep.
We're going to find who stole our umbrellas. So instead of the boys talking about what a great experience they had, they were worried about where our umbrellas were. So,
well, when I called you on, I think it was Sunday, to see how the game was, the first thing out of the boys' mouth was our umbrellas got stolen. And I was like, dude, y'all just had phenomenal seats at the first, Kalen DeBoer night game at that. Let's talk about, the night game atmosphere. Yep. Cush seats, nobody in your way, and y'all are really concerned about these umbrellas. So yeah, you're right. I mean, Trey, the running joke, I've now in this 18 and 16 years, is we spend a lot of money for our kids not to have that good of a time. So like they could, that's what me and Chris always notice. It's like, gosh, we spent all this money and all they've done is complain. Like, you know what I mean? Not saying the boys were complaining at the game. I'm just saying that's like as you get into this, it never changes, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly right. It's just what they take away from it. It's like growing up. Like you remember 10 things from growing up, and it's like your parents were like, "Wow, out of all this stuff we did, this is what you remember." You remember blowing a tire out on the interstate, and But so that was funny. That was fun, but we did have a good time.
Well,
When
Trey, I'll tell you the
Alabama,
one.
let's go.
I do need to tell you this thing because now you made me think about it. You remember that time that Gina was driving us and it was Easter and she ran over an Easter bunny or a bunny, not the Easter bunny. She ran over a bunny and we all freaked out. You don't remember that in River Chase? We were driving and she ran over a bunny on Easter.
Okay,
how can you not remember that?
Okay, that's one of the 10 things I don't remember as a kid. No,
yeah,
I do not.
I remember that like it was yesterday. I know what we had on. Okay, back to football. It doesn't, none of that matters. So listen, Trey, Alabama looked great, in my opinion. Alabama looked phenomenal. Little bit concerned on sustained drives. I love big plays. I think we all love a big play. But, can we sustain a drive against a good defense? Obviously, we won't know that maybe until the Wisconsin game. Probably won't know that this week. But, we have to be able to sustain drives. We got to be able to take some time off the clock. We got to be able to control the clock. Like there's some things like that we really didn't get to see. But all in all, I was very impressed with our coach. He's calm. Like he's a calm sideline coach. And, we've not had that in a very long time. So that'll be very interesting. A little bit of an interesting change. He doesn't really get twerked up a lot, nor does he get overly excited a lot, So that'll be a little bit different for me. I kind of like throwing headsets and visors and chewing people out. I don't know. I just like that. I'm used to it. What do you think about that side of it?
Being in the stadium, you don't see a lot of it. I mean, obviously, I think if you're watching on TV, the first thing that happens is Western Carolina or whoever we were playing, their headset goes out. You kind of knew that, okay, their headsets are going to go out. They're going to make Alabama take their headsets off. I think that was good for it to happen to Alabama. Coach said he had to get our offensive coordinator from the press box down to the field and kind of adjust on the fly there. That might help us down the road relative to, these headsets are so vital. But it's kind of said, hey, we need to have a plan here. So if that comes back up later in the season, they'll be prepared for it. Wendy, looking for Alabama. They are who we thought they were. Everybody loves everybody right now. Hadn't seen a lot of adversity. They play South Florida this week at 6:00. Wendy, I don't know if we're going to be able to do another podcast. We're just running really crazy. We're going to have to probably wrap all this up in this podcast if we can. Okay. So Alabama plays South Florida at 6:00. Wendy, the Georgia, the king of college football, the Georgia Bulldogs cruise into Atlanta with the convertible down. They got no worries. Clemson comes in, and they play a really good first half, Winnie. It was a great first half. Clemson kept shooting themselves in the foot, and it's just like Georgia's like, okay, they're just sitting there taking the body blows, body blow, body blow. Then Georgia comes out in the second half and just runs them completely out of the stadium, Wendy. Georgia, and talking about the king of college football, we joke about it, but like I think they have won 40 regular season games in a row. I mean, it's almost bizarre how many games they've won in a row, Winnie, and they look like they're loaded for bear again this year.
100%. Listen, Georgia's the real deal, which I didn't say they weren't. I'm just saying they have a hard time beating Alabama. So I mean, all I'm trying to say is great first half. I think we all in the country thought, okay, maybe, but Georgia went into the half and they adjusted. Clemson did not. And when I say they came out and killed them, they came out and killed them. And Trey, I don't know, Dabo, he really very well might be on the hot seat. Like, at some point you got Trey, you got to get caught up with what's going on. He won't use the portal. It's just, it is what it is. We were all mad about this stuff too as fans. I didn't want it to go this way either. I wanted him to stay 4 or 5 years, get to know the team and the players. But Trey, you got embarrassed. He got embarrassed. It was awful to not make an adjustment in the half. Like, come on, man, play football.
Well, he's ridden with the Klubnik guy, and listen, they're all out there trying. I thought Clemson looked good. I thought they were hitting. I thought they were big. I thought they were fast. A lot of good things. I thought the Klubnik, when there's never anybody open, you could say, well, if the
Yeah.
receivers aren't getting open, it's the scheme. Well, I mean, I don't really think it would be the scheme. I mean, the scheme is a proven scheme. I think they've got good enough players to get open. Sometimes the quarterback isn't getting it to the right place at the right time.
Right.
And it makes you appreciate, quarterbacks like Georgia has. I mean, he is on time. He's throwing the ball where it's supposed to be. Yep. And it just, Clemson's having a hard time doing that right now. Wendy, I think Clemson's going to be fine. They've got to get the quarterback figured out, or they got to say, we're the best running team, and we're only going to let our quarterback throw it, 12, 15, 18, 20 times in a game. So that was a fun game. Wendy, the Tennessee Volunteers are rocking, and she's got something written down, ladies and gentlemen. The Tennessee quarterback is legit.
Legit.
Here first. Wendy has run something down. Wendy, we are going to have to say this guy's name. His first name is Nico. Nico from the University of Tennessee. Yep. Wendy dropping dimes, laser beams. Wendy, is the Tennessee fans buying national championship tickets or not?
100% they are, Trey. They've already got the hotels booked. But let me tell you this. I said the last show, this Nico guy is special, and he proved it. He proved it on Saturday. When I tell you this kid throws a ball like he's throwing a newborn baby, it's the craziest thing. He's probably one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch. When I say a newborn baby, I mean like the receivers, it's like nothing's hard about his throw, right?
Okay. It's an easy ball to catch.
Easy ball to catch. So remember last year, their quarterback, a guy would be 6 yards away and the guy would throw it 200 miles per hour at the guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I watched it go down all last year. When I tell you this guy really reminds me of how Tua throws a little bit, how Tua's got that soft touch of a football. Trey, this kid's legit. Now, I don't know what their defense can do. Same thing, I don't really know what Alabama's defense can do. We played cupcake games. So I'm still very interested in to see that. But Trey, this quarterback is the real deal. And you said it last week. It's all about the numbers on the scoreboard. So your defense can be a little flack if you got a guy like that.
All I'm saying about Tennessee, they play NC State this week. They're going to have a big game this week. It's a really big showcase game for Tennessee with not a lot of great games this week, to be honest with you. They're going to play NC State with you. And I was going to say this. If Tennessee gets on a roll and you want to have a party and you want to have fun, be in Neyland Stadium or be traveling with Tennessee this year, because it is probably going to get wild. Tennessee is starving for a good season. They're starving for some success. And they look like they might have the team to do it this year. Going to be a lot of fun. Wendy, we're going to keep going here. Now we got to go. Let's go to one more good thing. One more good thing that we saw on Saturday was the Vanderbilt Commodores. The Vanderbilt Commodores were going to, come out and Virginia Tech's going to bring 20,000 fans. They're going to party in Nashville and watch their team beat Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Right.
Wait a minute. The game has to be played, Wendy. They have to play the game, and Vanderbilt came out, got up on Virginia Tech. We're talking about Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech. Vandy gets up on Virginia Tech, and in the second half, Virginia Tech comes back. And realistically, Wendy, I think a lot of people thought Virginia Tech was going to kind of take it back over and end the game, and this was going to be over. Vandy hung in there. Vandy actually had a late game field goal that they missed. Came back. Vanderbilt wins it in overtime. Wendy, could Vandy be a spoiler for some teams this year?
No, not for the SEC. No, I mean, they're still the worst in the SEC, Trey. But let me tell you this.
Spoilers. I'm not saying run the SEC. I'm talking about sneak up and beat an SEC team that they're not supposed to beat. I'm not talking about the playoffs.
I'm trying to think of the SEC team that they can. I don't know about this year, maybe Kentucky, but I'm going to tell you something. That was a fun game. It was the most fun game of the morning because remember that was kind of an early day game. And so it was a really good back and forth game, but also I like it, obviously, when the SEC wins, but, they were talking a bunch of trash the other team was, and for Vandy just to be like, okay, well, let's do this and figure out a way to come back and win a ball game. So, I love a good comeback story, and that's what they did. That game was amazing. But, Trey, we also cannot forget about that Texas A&M Notre Dame game. My gosh. That game was crazy. Now, I know you don't like talking about them, but I'm just telling you it was crazy.
Well, tell Tell me about it. I'm all ears.
So that game, I don't even know if either team is good. Like that's going to blow people's mind that I'm saying that, but I can't even decide if either team is good. But it was the best game of the day as far as competition that I saw, Trey. I mean, you got nobody being really able to do anything. It was a defensive battle. People are throwing balls over the field. Nobody's catching them. And it just really felt like Texas A&M was going to figure out a way to pull that game out. Now, of course they didn't. Notre Dame ended up winning it. But this Texas A&M coach might bring a little something this year. He might bring a little something this year.
Did not have a chance to see the game, Wendy. It just feels like same old, same old. I mean, you get everybody jacked up, and you can't beat a team when you've got them when you're right there in the grasp. Texas A&M, do something. I mean, do something. I mean, I'm just so sick of watching Texas A&M play at home, and everybody loves everybody, and this is going to be it, and they never win. They never win.
I don't disagree.
It's bizarre. Wendy, the Florida Gators, I mean, now we're on the downstroke of what happened this weekend. The Florida Gators, I saw some of that game, not a lot of that game, but, you've had 3 years to this coach Napier's had 3 years to at least look better.
Yeah.
They don't look good at all, and Florida has got a major problem.
Major problem. And listen, Trey, I mean, it was really bad. I think there was like 8 to 10 minutes left, and you could tell that Florida had given up. And, there's nothing worse than seeing that. I don't know what they were thinking when they put Billy Napier in. I mean, they had Mullen. He was winning games. He was going to New Year's Day bowls. Like, I don't really get what they were thinking, but he's not the answer. And if they don't do something, but they've been on a downward spiral. So you're going to have to figure something out to get your recruits back on pay. Like, I don't know, Trey. I don't know what they're going to do, but the whole state of Florida it's pretty bad down there with Florida and Florida State. I mean, it's bad. Can you imagine that game at the end of the year?
Well, that leads us into a good point. FSU loses again, Wendy. FSU's to a Boston College team, Wendy, and I think it looks bad on the surface. And if you watch the game, the DJU guy just he misses some wide open throws, Wendy, and it's a problem. No, if you really watched some of this before in the past, Florida State has had some problems with Boston College. It's kind of like being an Alabama fan and playing Mississippi State. It appears that you're always going to beat them, but there are a lot of really close games, and there's some games that could go either way. So this was not a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. But Florida State did not find any answers for Boston College, and Florida State has got a major, major issue down there.
Yeah, they do. And at the end of the day, Trey, I don't care. After all that they talked last year, like, I'm glad they're losing games. Look, we expanded it to 12 teams, and y'all still can't figure out a way to get in it. It's not my problem. Go ahead and get out of this top 12, top 20, because they're going to fall out of it after this week. I just don't. Again, I'm going to go back to you hodgepodge a portal, and this is what you get. That's how I feel about it. You can say all you want, but he hodgepodged everybody up, and I look at it just like anything else. You've got to 2 or 3 years playing with some kids. You learn these cadences. You learn all this stuff that goes on. This guy just – listen, they had a quarterback last year. That's what I'm trying. You're always right. I always, kind of tend to disagree with you on that. He had a really good quarterback last year. He didn't have that quarterback anymore. So now what are they going to be able to do? But Trey, Boston College is not some prolific football team. I mean, it's Boston College.
Bill O'Ryan. They got Bill O'Ryan, one of our offensive coordinators, a great coach. And Wendy, I've had a couple of really good coaches in my lifetime. I'm telling you, good coaches know what they're looking at, and they know where to put these players. That's what makes them a good coach. I mean, you have to be a lot to be a good coach, but the majority of being a coach is knowing what you have, putting them in the right spot, and running the right plays. Now, are you going to win every game? Probably not, but that's what the great coaches do. They're like, this is what we have, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to win football games. And the thing about the portal, Wendy, this is what you are going to see with the portal. You're going to have some teams hit and some teams gel. You're going to have some teams not hit and not gel. Next year, Florida State could be making another run at the national title. This is going to be a little bit more of what we see in college football because these teams are just so transient. You're going to have these
Right.
teams come out of nowhere and then fall back down. I think it's going to be a real roller coaster ride with that. Wendy, the LSU Bengal Tigers. The LSU Bengal Tigers, I turned the game on Sunday night, and they were playing the USC Trojans. Number one, Wendy, high-level college football.
Great game.
High-level college football, two great coaches. LSU has this thing in the bag.
Yep.
Brian Kelly was really upset afterwards. If you want to see a cool clip, go watch Brian Kelly press conference. He slams his hand on the table. He's frustrated with his team. Brian Kelly, obviously a legendary coach. He understands what he's doing. LSU has them stopped on fourth down. They're probably going to get the ball on the 35-yard line. One LSU player has a penalty. It backs them up like to the 20 or inside the 15-yard line, and really they didn't have a chance for that drive. They had to punt the ball.
Right.
They had a targeting penalty. Where I'm going with this is, Wendy, as soon as LSU was ready to kind of complete and in this game, they have a couple of huge penalties, and USC comes out on top, and LSU goes down again in their opening game. Wendy,
one of the best games. One of the best games of the weekend. I'm with you. I was actually surprised that USC did so well. They've been so bad for so long. But, you know, isn't Lincoln Riley the coach over there now? He left the SEC, got scared.
Yeah.
Is it Lincoln Riley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't like him because I believe that he left because that Oklahoma was coming into the SEC. He was scared to play Saban every year. But anyway, I really wanted to see LSU win that game. But like you said, dumb penalties. You had the game in the bag, man, and you gotta get up there and showboat. And Trey, you can't do it. That's discipline, though, Trey. That's discipline. And I blame the coach for that. You got to discipline. Like, these kids have to be disciplined in these big moments. This kid wasn't disciplined. And I blame the targeting penalty. That's what I'm talking about. He wasn't disciplined. It's no different than the shoe throwing incident back in the day. Like, we can't do this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You've got to keep these kids disciplined. And that's hard to do nowadays when they're all making more money than you are. So, I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah,
it's a great game, though.
It's a fine line, Wendy. We're gonna get off here. We're gonna try to do this. Number one of the bigger games. The Tennessee's playing NC State this weekend. Big college game this weekend. Be fun to watch. That's a night game. Alabama plays South Florida at 6:00. Arkansas plays Oklahoma State. I think that's going to be a great game. Arkansas scored a ton of points in their opener. They might figure something out this year, but Oklahoma State has got the ball rolling. That'll be a really good game, I think. And then probably the biggest game of the week is going to be the Texas Longhorns versus the Michigan Wolverines.
Go Michigan.
Yeah. So, Texas is a huge favorite. Michigan's kind of like nobody's talking about them. Let's see if Texas can go in. Can Texas go in and do the job that they're supposed to do? That's going to probably be the game of the week. Wendy, today. Just FYI, I've got a ton of things going on. I know everybody does. We wanted to get on here and do this. It took us about 15 minutes to get this thing going. So, Wendy, last week you said I was in a rush. Do I feel like I'm rushed today?
No, but when we started off with technical difficulties, I knew it was going to be a little because you get set in what you're going to do, and then you've got to figure it. I mean, it took us 10 minutes to try to figure out how to get on here. But I am going to, before you say anything, Auburn had a good weekend, Trey. You wanted to slip right on past Auburn, and I'm not going to let you. Auburn may be something to watch. I could be right about Hugh Freeze. We might need to see a little bit about that. But listen, as far as the calls go, maybe next week, if we didn't hear them, we can just put them up against the speaker like I do. I mean, that's probably the easiest way, because we are so fancy with this, with this show. We really know what we're doing here.
Yeah, we're trying. Listen, we enjoy it. Listen, we still want to get the messages in. We might have to figure out a way to play them a little bit better.
Yep.
Nacho, Mike, we're trying to get some other people on. We're just trying to get a rhythm here, because I don't even know if we can do it on Sunday. We might have to do it on Monday. Wendy, we got to get our act together. But listen, I love you. Let's have a good week, and I will talk to you later.
Roll Tide. Love you.
Love you, babe.